I'm Kevin Casey. I'm a professional mixed martial arts fighter. And right now what I'm about to do is issue a warning out to all other competitors.
I don't want overs. I just expect them to happen.
Fatty's gonna fatty is real. Welcome to this week's edition of the MMA Analysis podcast. Did you notice anything different? Just a little bit. We've got a new presenting host this week, folks. That's right. Somebody actually made the decision to put us on their website, and that is the Hammer Betting Network. This means we're going full tout. If you haven't paid us already, we're going to send you a bill next week for the last decade of free podcasts. No, never. You know that's not our style. But the Hammer decided to bring us on for some MMA content. Go check them out at thehammer.bet. I didn't know you could do cool handles like that on the interwebs because I'm old. But they've got coverage on all of the actual sports that are out there from people that know how to do math and like actually know how to bet and stuff. I think Bo's over there. They got the turtle that beat Ben. They got the turtle. We're just going to stick to the idiot sports that we know, and nothing's going to change on this end. We're still going to have fun. It's just hopefully a few more people will see us now because, as you know, we are terrible at marketing. That was way too long for an intro. Shaun's with me. Wes is with me. Lance has AIDS again. We'll see if he can recover in time for the Bronx breakdown. We need to get a couple of those in tonight. But Shaun, how you doing? How excited are you?
Very excited, but it wouldn't be a special week without you cutting off the intro. You were a little premature on that one. You didn't get the full, but it's okay. It's okay. This is how we roll. Like, let's be serious. We didn't expect anything.
What part did
better.
I miss? It was dancing around, and then the beautiful face came on screen, and I couldn't contain my excitement.
I know you couldn't contain yourself. There were the old sound bites that were still popping off. We got the West give me fucking truth, and Lance likes wood inside. You cut those off, so I guess the fans will have to wait till next week for that to get the full effect then.
There we go. I don't follow instructions very well. Shaun laid out this whole script, and I was like, no. I'm not going to do what you tell me. You're a grown man with a ponytail. I'm just going to do my own thing.
Do it live.
Still go visit the Hammer because they do some cool shit over there. Wes, how are things down in the bluegrass?
It's getting cold, man. It's getting that time of year. It's football season.
It was freezing overnight last night here.
Yeah, we've gotten a couple freezes already, which is it happens. It's football season, so representing our boy OBC out in Denver. Man, it's cool.
What are they? 4-1 or something like that?
Yeah, beating some highly ranked high class teams out there this year too, man.
I mean, we shouldn't be really surprised from the old ball coach.
No. I mean,
we expect it at this point.
I'd take him over half the NFL right now, honestly. Like those bozos. Oh boy,
some galaxy brains going on there.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Doing good, man. Pretty cool to be over here. Doing a little our shenanigans over on the Hammer. I think we're definitely going to be a little bit more of the casual content over here. There's some serious.
Need some of that too.
Yeah, there's some serious guys. So check them out, man. It's a lot of cool stuff. The Pozzola fucking eating the chip today is the content that we all want.
That you needed.
Yeah, that's the
gotta give him props. Gotta give him props. He took it like a champ. There's a lot of people that would not have survived that.
15 minutes. That's pretty good.
What was the over? Like 36 seconds or something like that?
Yeah.
That was.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah.
Too easy.
Shaun, I've got to be honest with you. I thought when you set this whole thing up, it was the Hammered. So, I put a couple extra beers to the side, but we'll just go with the regular amount for this week. But
That's good.
we're kicking it off in style because it's Bronx season, baby. It's and not even just Bronx season. I mean, that's enough to make a great card. But we got a bantamweight title bout. We got some Peter Yan and Omuki. It's a pretty great card all the way down. Probably one of the best of the year. So that's some exciting stuff for the listeners to look forward to. Before we get to that, we're gonna try and go back to our old style of recap and blow through it a bit quicker, especially with that card that UFC put on last week. I guess before we do that, though, we're new to some listeners. So we've been doing this podcast, not necessarily the three of us right now, a rotating cast of characters for like a decade now. We're all pretty good at betting. We win some money. It looks like my internet is being laggy right now, so that's fun. I hope you guys don't have to put up with that in the first episode too much. But yeah, we're pretty good at betting. I think Shaun, probably the worst of us. He's only up like 50 units this year.
They're fraud units.
And he's trying to cut me off for saying this, for bringing the truth.
They're fraud units. What can I say?
Sean's
Anyway,
having a pretty good season.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, Bradley.
Yeah, he's all right at this.
You're killing us.
Wes has been betting.
Oh no. First week in Brad's internet decides. I swear it's like cursed or something. That's like when we went with Lance and we would have perfect internet and then he would come along and then it would just be terrible.
In years, months maybe.
And Lance, like, we try to do any other platform and Lance's stuff just starts dropping everywhere.
Yeah.
Brad has not had an internet problem in weeks and
years. More like years.
It gets a little cold up there and
everything and all goes to shit, I tell you. As Brad was trying to say, Wes is also a good gambler. He's having a very good year. All his bets are tracked on the old bet stamp, which is for the brand as well. So that's
currently
good
closing
stuff.
Everything on the computer.
It's probably a good idea, Brad. Probably a good idea. Do we want to recap last week real quick?
Yeah,
probably should. While we're waiting for Brad to shake loose those cobwebs. So I think we're gonna try to run through the prelim card really quick, like we used to, where we just recap them all, and then just touch on whichever ones are stood out, good or bad. So yeah, starting off the night, we had an absolute murder. Pete Rodriguez knocking out Mike Jackson in just a mean fashion. This is why there are MMA fighters and there are journalists / photographers. He should not have been there. After that, we had Tatsuro Taira submitting CJ Viagra by armbar. Piero Rodriguez defeated Sam Hughes by decision. Joanson Brito took out Lucas Alexander, who may have been a janitor off the street. We will never know. Jacob Malkoon made me eat some lunch there and fairly easily defeated Nick Maximoff. And Leomana Martinez defeated Brandon Davis by split decision. Wes, what stands out for you there?
We should be like banned for betting on Maximoff, dude. Like that was just horrible, man. You know, good shout to Brad. Like he was on that the whole time.
That was the Munich. That was the Munich bet of the week last week.
Yeah, that Maximoff is terrible, dude. Like he's really bad. Um, Tyara, he looked pretty good, man. It was a good submission. I think he's all right, dude. Still young. Though burrito man, of course. Yeah, the prelims went pretty well for me betting wise, but then I kind of gave a lot of it back later on the card on those dogs. I said on last week's show that I like, but we're probably going to lose. Well, a lot of them they ended up losing. So
yeah, I feel you. Tyra, he's got skills, and obviously he's young, but there's definitely some holes there. Viagra's not the one to do it, but there might be somebody soon that might do it. Do you think the tirade that Leomana Martinez had from old James Krause was the final nail in the coffin for betting getting banned in the UFC with all the everybody's like, yeah, obviously Krause had way too much money on his fighter and was losing his mind after 2 rounds, and there's a little more oomph behind that pep talk after the second round, and then of course it comes out the next day or a couple days later that they can't bet on fights. Mr. James Krause is losing a bunch of his income.
I'm not even sure how much money he's personally got on these fights, but he is like touting, and apparently he's got a fairly large group of people that pay him for fights. So I mean, he doesn't want to.
So is he going to loophole it? Is he going to loophole it with? He's like, I'm not betting it. I'm just giving out picks, and people are going to continue to pay him.
So like it was this stuff trickling out about him that got this statement. Like, but on the other hand, there's no way they can enforce that. There's no way you're going to be able to track all of these fighters and coaches and just gym people and stuff that they could give. You know, I mean. But yeah, it's absolutely because of that Krause stuff coming out. And I don't personally think he puts much money on anything, but he does he's probably making more money touting a bunch of people, on Discord than he does coaching or anything. So of course it's going to affect his corner, and hell yeah, he gave out his fighter there. So yeah, it hasn't been a good look, man. Like none of that was a good look on him.
Yeah, not great. Not great. The man is back. How pixelated is he, though? It looks better.
I switched. It was. I'm telling you, man. It's the Telegram. the Russians don't like me. I'm Ukrainian, so they're trying to cut it off at the source. So yeah, how did we talk about my dude Jacob Malkoun? How did that one go down?
We gave you
we gave him some props. We said that was the Munich bet of the week last week, and we're idiots for betting Maximoff. But you can definitely take another lap. I mean, regardless of the injury, that was I think that was going to be bad news for us. Regardless, that was just bad.
I really don't like to victory lap too much, in a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was fun. He still sucks, but you know exactly what he's going to do out there, which is the best kind of suck for a fighter to be.
He's better than I thought, but maybe I had way too low of expectations for him.
It was the way that the Hogs beat him, and then went on like his shittiest streak. It just looked real bad, but
yeah,
I don't know. He's all right.
We overestimated the avenues for Maximoff, though. Like we thought his wrestling was a little better. We thought he could get up off the ground, and he did somewhat, but I think he got injured too, and it was just it was all bad from there. Like I think he tweaked his knee
Oh,
or
yeah,
something
he
right
definitely-
early in the fight. Like, and it was over from there. Malkoon isn't good though, man. Come on. What are we doing? What are we doing?
I'm just glad he still made it to a decision. That's incredible. I don't know how you do that.
Yeah, you got lucky there that Malkoon could not finish anything if his life depended on it.
The reason that I wanted to bring that one up is for like a collective victory lap, because we all kind of individually we're pretty decent as bettors, but the consensus in the Munich, Shaun has the numbers, but pretty impressive stuff that when we put these 4 quarter brains together, well, I guess 3 in today's case, it works out all right most of the time.
It's all you need to win at money at MMA. Turns out.
I'm disappointed in Lance though for chasing trophies over showing up for the show tonight. Like,
those under 9 trophies are forever, Wes. They fly forever.
I think my parents burned all those a couple decades ago.
Yeah.
Where were you when I?
Well, we did the whole prelim. We went
Beautiful.
through it. Just some more sadness for you, that's for sure.
Yep. Yeah, Misha Serkinov is exactly who we thought he is at this point. I don't even know that we need to go through these fight by fight. We can do the same thing as the prelims, go through them all, and if you guys have anything to say, then you can just spit it out. Absolutely smoked Misha Serkinov. That was not pretty. Rafael Sunsao, that was turned back the clock a little bit against Victor Henry, and yeah, that was nice to see. You don't always see that. Dusky Toads Dede and Beverly Hills Ninja was, I don't know exactly what we thought it would be, but
that was awesome.
It was damn entertaining.
It was gross.
That was awesome. That was awesome, dude.
And then Jonathan Martinez just kicked the shit out of Cub. Probably a bad idea for Cub to cut down to bantamweight, and I was way too confident in him. Talked myself into him more as the week went, so that wasn't great. Under was good, though. And Alexa Grasso and Arujau went 25 minutes, and I don't remember much of anything there. It was nice that it was a 5-fight main card, though. That made it
nice and
a little more bearable. So,
yep.
Shaun, thoughts on any of those?
Yeah, it was good to see us on Sunsao, kind of like you said, turn back the clock. MMA is a cruel bitch, and there is, especially at lower weight classes, you start climbing that age close to 40 and over, and it's usually bad news for you. So, great performance by him. Obviously, everybody, like Wes said, but did not follow through with last week. Everybody is way too high on Victor Henry after a good performance. So yeah, we were all idiots.
Yep.
Dusky Toads. Yeah. Dusky Toads against the Beverly Hills Ninja was just perfect. Toads getting out-grappled by Jordan Wright for almost the whole first round. And then that's all he has in cardio is 4.5 minutes maybe. And congrats to whoever live bet that after the first round. Some people got like plus 200 and higher. That was very, very smart.
Get it?
Sad that Swanson went down like that, but they cashed the consensus under 2.5, so we can't be too mad. And then the main event it happened. Close fight, but not on scorecards. Thought Arujau would be able to grapple a little bit better. I got burnt on that one.
Wes?
Yeah, Serkinov needed to get one of those clinches he got into to the mat, or he was always going to be melted, and it happened. That's one of the dogs I took there, and then talking myself off of a Sun Sal and then to completely the other side from Wednesday to or Friday night is just that flipped my whole card right there, pretty much as far as winning money or losing money. Saturday, I knew a Sun Sal was going to be tough. I knew Henry was overhyped. I don't know what was going through my mind. That was horrible. Yeah, Dusky Toes. That was an awesome fight. I got some live on him after the first round, which was beautiful. Also had him by KO at plus money. We got our under on Cub. I'm not sure dropping to 135 was very smart for Cub Swanson to do at this stage. At any weight though, that he doesn't like body shots anymore. And Martinez started lighting that body up with stuff with knees and stuff. And it got to Cub very, very fast. Had some Martinez inside the distance plus 250 as well. So that was really nice. And the main event was just something that happened. And I wish we could, I'm going to try to be halfway nice since we're we're not independent anymore, but we got to stop doing these 5-round women's main events. It just, unless it's for a belt, it's got to stop because there just isn't the talent, man, to put on 25 minutes of something, unless you're getting somebody like Jessica Andrade or somebody like that can finish fights and it's exciting and stuff. There's very few, and these two just, it ain't it, man.
It's tough. We've only had 2 cards in the last 4 weeks, spaced apart, with weeks off in between, and both those main events were women's main events that were very lackluster. So that makes it much worse.
Yep, it sure does. The hilarious moment of the card was certainly Jonathan Martinez after destroying Cub's knees, then calling out Dominic Cruz, because that dude definitely wants to fight you after seeing you kick the shit out of an old man's knees for 10 minutes or however long it was.
Can't blame Martinez.
Dude,
it's not a dumb call out.
Dom's response was great. He was just pretty much like, "Yeah, kid, keep winning those fights, buddy." Yep,
it's cold-blooded.
Love it. Anyway, don't tell me this
Bradley
is happening again. No, we're good.
You're good. You're good.
Moving on to UFC 280, and I'm going to keep my comments brief to avoid these periods if they happen. Great card, but we're going to kick it off with a prelim that I don't think many people are going to be tuning in too early for, because I think this is at like 10 a.m. my time, like 8 a.m. Sean's. Shaun, are you waking up at 8 a.m. for a women's bantamweight clash between Lena Landsberg and Carol Rosa?
Man, I actually have a buddy coming over to watch this card, which doesn't happen unless it's like a massive card. And because it's so early, and yeah, my time, I think we're just going to get hammered on Friday night and wake up and watch some fights. So I don't know. It depends on how hammered we get. We might be sleeping through this one, but we'll see.
I mean, even if you wake up, you might be sleeping through this one. So
it might put us back to bed. I usually it's a fairly smart idea to take the big dog usually in women's fights when the favorite is not really that good. I have a tough time doing that in this one. I just think that Rosa is going to be able to grapple Landsberg. She gets taken down by everybody. There's no way I'm betting it. But Toutmaster, our pick'em contest, I'll unfortunately be taking the minus 300 lady. I know that it goes against what I usually do and what Brad always does. So we'll see if it burns me.
Every point matters, Shaun. Every point matters.
That's true. It's true.
Wait, where are you in the old Tout Masters?
I've been getting crushed the last
Me
month.
too.
I was like leading for a very, very long time, and now I'm in 10th.
Oof. Not even
Turns
really
out
on.
going on a honeymoon and some other rough cards, not caring too much, and all that stuff is not good for the Tout Master lead.
It happens. Wes, big thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have much on this fight. I do like Rosa here. Like Shaun said, it's hard to take a favorite in the pick'em contest. She probably wins by decision. But there's some Rosa by sub at like plus 700 out there that probably is not not too bad if you want some kind of action on this fight. It probably goes 15 and it's a boring Rosa decision. But if it's early and I haven't had any coffee, I might throw a couple bucks on that sub at plus 700. It's not widely available. I think that's like a FanDuel line, which in MMA always check FanDuel for props earlier in the week because they put up the dumbest numbers as far as like American sports books. I know Canadians have a lot more stuff up there, but FanDuel, for some reason, their early MMA props are like really bad until they get bet on. So, yeah, that submission at plus 700, but Rosa's the pick.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to pick Landsberg in Tout Master just because I'm a man of principle. I don't think she wins. I think this is probably 15 minutes of clinch and maybe a couple takedowns and not a lot happening at distance. Not the greatest fight for us to kick off our breakdowns on this lovely website. Next one's all right, I guess. Should be kind of fun. A Canadian's gonna die probably.
Like you're in
Division. The first of many mooks on this card. A lot of mooks. We got Muhammad Makhachev taking on Malcolm Gordon. I almost slipped into a little bit of an Arnie accent there. We'll work on it. We'll see what we can get. Shaun, thoughts here?
Love it. Yeah. Makhachev is he's got some pretty damn good skills for how young he is. I don't know if the way that they're booking him is probably good. I think he has a pretty good advantage because Malcolm Gordon is for the most part a grappler and Makhachev is a lot better grappler. So I think he's going to be in trouble. I guess Malcolm Gordon's going to be lucky because his chin's not going to get checked likely in this fight. I think Makhachev is going to be able to get takedowns, get that back, and take him out. So I'm probably going to put Makhachev in inside the distance in a parlay. I think he gets the Canadian out of there. Turns out Canadians are not good at fighting anymore, so they're pretty good fades.
Wes?
Yeah, I think Makhachev can get it done here. I will say he's really short and stuff for the division, and Malcolm Gordon's going to have a lot of reach advantage and stuff on him on the feet. So
allegedly, they're both 5'7", Wes. Allegedly,
that's a lie. There's no way. But I think that Makhachev is gonna get this to the mat. Malcolm Gordon gets taken down when dudes want him down. I actually think that Makhachev can get a sub in this spot. I think he's going to get it to the mat, and I think there's going to be him working. He could get the TKO. The inside the distance is probably a lot more safer, but I think he can catch Malcolm Gordon with something. That was out there at plus 160 like yesterday. It's already been bet down on FanDuel to plus 135. Still kind of like it. It's you got to look for how he gets it done here when he's minus 850. He should be minus 850, but yeah, the inside the distance is probably a pretty safe parlay piece. but I'll probably sprinkle a little on that sub, and he's definitely the pick here. It's just you can't really do much with the he's a 10-1 fave across the board at most places. So
Yep, Malcolm Gordon has never lost by decision, and he's not lost. He's lost a few times in MMA. He's got a couple losses on his record, so it's not a great thing. I expect that Mackhachev is probably going to get a finish at some point. I kind of looked at the over 1.5 here for a bit, just because they are flyweights, but we saw what Makhachev did to Cody Durden, and I could see him landing something equally big against Malcolm Gordon. Or if he does get him down, it could be a quick transition to the back or something like that. So, yeah, not a lot for me to bet here. The minus 1,000 favorite is probably going to win pretty easily, shockingly. But should look pretty good in doing it. And I think I said he was going to be breakout fighter of the year. So, hey, look good out there, kid. Look good out there.
There we go.
Beat up the Malcolm Gordons of the world.
Yeah.
Come on, bro.
Beautiful. Hey, you in the bantamweight division, just one weight class up, we got a dude that beat up a bunch of Malcolm Gordons, and now people think he's going to beat Peter Yan. So,
very true.
We'll see. Moving on up to the middleweight division, we got AJ Dobson taking on Armen Petrosian. Not the good kickboxing Petrosian, not related, but he's still a pretty decent kickboxer just not for Petrosian. And AJ Dobson, I'm pretty sure that dude has Mark Coleman in his corner. So regardless of what happens in this fight,
we need Mark Coleman to be in your internet's corner. Get this shit pumped up.
Yeah, I think obviously Dobson has got to wrestle in this and get it down and keep it there, or get Petrosian out of there with a sub, because I think if it's on the feet, then Petrosian's going to have a pretty big advantage. But if Dobson can get it on the ground, he probably has close to the same advantage on the ground. So I don't really have a good kind of read on how this is going to go. Petrosian looked pretty good against the Hobo Cop. I just question if he can keep it on the feet. I think Dobson probably gets lit up on the feet, but I'll probably pick him in Tout Master. He's got some dog odds, which I've been taking too many, so might as well keep going.
Yeah, it's time to dig up now, stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Wes, what do we got?
Yeah, I mean, this is a fight that Petrosian definitely he wants to keep everything on the feet, but the thing about him is he's a boring fucker, man. Like, he doesn't do much of anything in fights. He does just enough. He's got decent takedown defense. I think this might turn into like a really boring kickboxing match, or Dobson trying to get takedowns and lots of stalling of Petrosian, just fighting them off, landing enough to take a couple rounds here. I'm looking at the over here. It's like plus 165 for over 2.5 in a fight that I just think is going to be boring and kind of slow, man. Petrosian decision is sitting at plus 350. I just think he's the slightly better guy here. I think his takedown defense is good enough. And if somebody's getting a finish here, it's probably him in some form of KO. So I haven't bet anything on this fight yet, but definitely looking at that over 2.5 at plus 165. Petrosian is the pick for me. I think he can win a really boring decision, or if something heavy gets landed, it's going to be by him. So Petrosian's the pick. I might look at that decision as well at plus 350.
Don't hate that at all. Didn't really look at it as an angle beforehand, but even the over 1.5 around minus 125 because then if you get Dobson maybe getting him down for a round, we've seen that Petrosian can survive. Survived a much better grappler than Dobson last time out, who was just clinging to his back.
Sorry, bro. I didn't even notice the 1.5s out there. I'm looking at a different line too. Yeah, 1.5 is a lot better, I think, even at dog odds.
Might as well sprinkle both.
Yeah, there you go. So that's where you get that collaboration of the brains going on the MMA analysis. We don't see things until the other person points them out, and we're looking at the wrong shit anyway. I'm gonna take Petrosian. Don't hate decision. It could be a late stoppage. I didn't love what I've seen out of Dobson's gas tank so far, and Petrosian, as much as he can get taken down at times, good defense, and he's going to keep fighting and eventually stand back up. It's just that sometimes he does that with like 6 seconds left in the round. He can't get anything off. So if he smartens up a little bit, I think he's going to kind of roll here. I don't hate him as a parlay piece, but definitely not my favorite on the card. Welterweight division, we've got Khabib Nurmagomedov, who's got certainly on the betting lines the Nurmagomedov bump. People know that he's not related, or apparently they don't know he's not related, because this guy is not very good. And he's taking on Gadji Omargadjiev. One of these.
I'm not even trying tonight.
Nurmagomedov.
Russian Omar Russianev. That's how they do it. They just repeat names like that fraud that backed out of the fight with Raw Dog last week. Man, what a fraud. Anyway, let's talk about these guys instead, Sean.
Kind of a weird booking. I feel like they don't usually book, Russians against Russians. I know they're good and like going to Abu Dhabi. I figured they could have found other people for both of these guys to fight, but it is what it is. Yeah, like you said, this Nurmagomedov is not good. I don't know whether I would assume people just blindly bet that name. I mean, even people just blindly bet the OV at the end of the name a lot of times. So I guess if you like Nurmagomedov, the only concern is he's dropping down in weight. He's never fought at 170. He's actually fought once at 205. So I would watch, if you're into that sort of thing, watch the weigh-ins to see how rough he looks, and then it probably won't matter anyway. But just make sure that he can make weight, because it's not the greatest look when they don't. And I feel like the wave of guys coming in overweight and then just winning is kind of gone now. It's kind of swayed the other way a bit. So I'll pick Nurmagomedov, but I don't like it.
Wes?
Yeah, I mean they're all fighting each other over here because it's like the only place they can get booked at this point.
Yeah,
like they can't.
It's all
they
visa
can't get
issues.
They can't.
Yeah,
get
I guess
visa.
I didn't think about that.
Like Nurmagomedov hasn't fought in like over a year and a half. There's another dude on there hasn't fought in like 2.5 years. Like they can't get fights booked. Yeah, I kind of like Godzi here. I think there's a path. I think this is probably gonna get to the mat. I'm just hoping it's not, Abukar on top, just controlling, doing nothing for minutes at a time. I just think at this price, Brad's right. Like he's getting the bump off that name, even though people don't even realize it. It's a wrestler that's going to try to control. So I'm actually surprised it's kind of coming down. I figured it'd keep going up, but it's probably about time to play Godzi if you like him. And my path is I think it's going to be on the mat, and I think Godzi can get in some stuff. And him by sub is plus 700. Him inside the distance is like plus 350, plus 400. We've seen Nurmagomedov get subbed by way lesser dudes in smaller organizations. So that plus 700 on sub is looking kind of juicy there to me. But yeah, I like the dog shot here. It'll be a bet, and I'll be sprinkling on inside the distance and probably the sub as well.
Yeah, I've got a unit on Gadzi. Oh my god. Um, and I am going to throw a little sprinkle on the sub. I actually jumped the gun and put an early couple bucks over at Mason's at 650. But I see that, as Wes mentioned earlier, sometimes FanDuel comes out with some nice numbers. That's where the 700 is. I think that's very live. We saw Abubakar get subbed by David Zawada. It was David Zawada, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. Took him down and really kind of looked lost for a guy who wanted to take the fight to the ground. Just kind of fell into a triangle. And in Gadzi's fights, he wants to grapple. He grappled a little bit with the most Russianist wet blanket ever, who happens to be Brazilian. We'll talk about him in a couple fights.
Yeah. Yep.
And, actually had some early success, got a takedown, and then just ended up getting reversed and controlled, as that wet blanket likes to do. So I think dropping down, he's not going to get controlled as easily. He might even get some takedowns of his own, and if he gets on top, I think he's a definite a definite submission threat in this spot. So Gadzi is going to be a one unit at plus 150, and then we'll see what we end up getting on the sub prop as well. Featherweight division, Zubaira Takugov taking on Lucas Almeida, I think. Lucas Almeida is one of those guys that, like, he's been in the UFC. He's fought a couple times.
He fought on Contender Series, lost, then won on the regional circuit, and then came back and beat the shit out of Michael Trizano.
Okay, so I've seen him at least twice. No real memory of his fights. So that might tell you where I'm going here. Shaun?
Bit of a weird booking. I'm not sure, like, it might be the visa thing. Like, I thought Tuhugov would get more established, higher ranked fighter. Obviously Almeida's debut in the official UFC was pretty impressive. I mean, he did get clipped by Trizano, but was able to get him out of there. He looked fairly good, but yeah, I just think there's levels to this. I think Tuhugov can do all right on the feet, and I guessing his grappling is going to be better than Almeida's. We obviously haven't seen much from Almeida, so I'm just kind of going with the more known entity. No bet here, but the pick is Tuhugov.
Wes?
Yeah, I this is the other one I was talking about with the layoff here, and I think that's got to have something to do with the line here because, Shaun's right. Like this is a different level guy, I believe. Just haven't seen him in so long, and people have seen Almeida fight on Contender Series and stuff. So maybe it's the only thing I can come to looking at this line because it seems a little low to me, man.
Seems low.
It's minus 150 now and stuff on a dude that's been pretty damn good against like legit competition in the UFC. It's just he's been off for 2 years. So, man, I haven't bet him yet. I'm gonna watch this line. I mean, if it comes down into the minus 140s and stuff, then it's gonna have to be a bet just on. I mean, pedigree alone, strength of competition. I mean, just I think he's a better dude. I do want it to get a little lower because you always got to worry about a layoff like that, whether it's a visa.
It's only been a year.
Whatever.
It's only been a year. He did beat Ricardo Ramos last October, and that's a tough matchup as well. And he was able to.
Yeah, it's not too bad. Yeah,
sure I thought Ramos in that one.
I thought it was approaching a couple years. Yeah, I mean it's still a layoff, which isn't but he's got legit wins. I mean he went good with Dawadu. I mean, he knocked out Kevin Aguilar. Like, not everybody knocks out Kevin Aguilar. I mean, this line just seems like something's up. And I'm going to watch it, but he's definitely the pick here. I just think he's the the all around way better dude.
Yeah, I kind of expected more to see like a minus 300 to Kugov in this spot than this line. What I remember of Almeida is having like a decent first round against Zellhuber and then getting kind of smoked the last two and losing that on Contender Series. And we saw that that guy's kind of a fraud in his last UFC outing. So you've got a guy who's being competitive and losing with borderline UFC talent, and a guy who has been super competitive with a bunch of borderline top 15 guys. So I just don't really understand here. Um, as you said, line looks low. Plus, even if this is a close fight, it's in Abu Dhabi where judges seem a little bit more favorable to the guys ending in the OV. So
I mean, the crowd is
I
going to be as one-sided as you'll probably
Yeah.
ever see a fight.
yeah,
That helps
Yeah,
the judges in that scenario as well.
not it's going to take a lot for Lucas Almeida to win this fight. I feel like if you're betting him, you probably want to bet him inside the distance or round one because he probably needs to get it done in that first flurry. Otherwise, Tuhugov's going to take over and probably get himself a decision. I haven't bet it yet. I don't know why. It just like something is weird about this. It just feels weird in the wrong direction. Anyway, we are going to move it along to. We still got a couple prelims to go. Light heavyweight division. We got the Ooze, Volkan Oezdemir taking on Nikita Krylov. Not Al Capone anymore, so we don't like
Sad.
him. He's some dumb guy that got triangled by the Bear Jew. And Ooze is some dumb guy who wouldn't even grapple with the Bear Jew. So we hate him too. Shaun, who do we hate more in this fight?
Well, I definitely hate Krylov myself in this fight more. Oezdemir, you call him dumb. I call him very smart. If you, unless he's into autoerotic asphyxiation or something like that, he had a very very smart game plan because avoid grappling with Paul Craig. Krylov, not that smart, obviously into that stuff because he was dumb enough to play on the ground with him. Volkan's shown pretty good takedown defense. I think if Krylov tries to grapple, I think he can stuff it. I think that tires out Krylov. And on the feet, like, I still trust Volkan has that power. Like, I know we haven't been seeing it. Like, it doesn't just disappear. Like, he did knock out those guys, like, dead. This was a while ago, but it's still there. I still think he can catch Krylov. I've never been a fan of Krylov. He made me... against Gustafsson, that was just a sad display from a former title contender. I think this is going to be a lot more competitive. At plus 148, I took a unit on Oezdemir to keep it close. I know Krylov probably is going to be a little more active, so hopefully Oezdemir's landing the more meaningful shots.
Wesley.
Yeah, I don't have too much to add to that. I'm going to be on though Oezdemir as well here. I think we're seeing like wrestling Krylov now, and this is just not the guy. I mean, Oezdemir's he stays away, man. He doesn't engage enough to get stupid double legged, and his takedown defense is pretty good. You just got to worry about him landing enough. I think he can land the slightly more meaningful shots in this fight, and just think it's going to be a close fight. And at plus 140, I'll take a little shot on Oezdemir here. Shaun's right though too about the power, man. Like, doesn't go away, and he's melted some guys, man. Like, I don't think Krylov's got the greatest chin. We've seen Krylov deaded before, so if one guy's getting laid out here, I think it's Krylov. But This is probably more of just a slow paced fight, and um, I'll take the dog and something like that. So, yeah, small play on the dog for me.
Have we seen Krylov deaded before? Like he's been subbed a lot, but like is
Yeah, not
I
anybody
thought he
really.
got
like
knocked out. Not well. It's been a while. Yeah, yeah, it's been a while.
I think that's the biggest thing that's gonna push me in Krylov's favor, and I'm not on as much of an island as I was last week because I'm not betting Krylov here. I'm not that confident in him. Ozdemir is one of those guys who's always gonna keep a fight close, uh, but I think that Krylov's just gonna do more. As you guys said, that Ozdemir has power. He's got good takedown defense. He's one of those nullifying fighters where you might be able to not do a bunch, or he might not do a lot to you, but you're not going to do a lot to him. And I think Krylov's just complete stupidity that he showed in the Bearju fight is probably going to work out in his favor here because he's just going to come forward, throw shit, go for takedowns. He's just going to look like he's doing more in this fight. I don't think that as far as their skills go, he's minus 180 or minus 175, whatever he is right now. But in terms of how they fight, I think that judges are definitely going to favor what he does more than Ozdemir, unless Ozdemir does find that massive knockout shot. I just don't see that happening against Krylov. So not confident enough to go against you guys, but not taking the same side at the same time. Middleweight division, we've got another one of the Mooks. We've got Mukhmud Muradov taking on Caio, the Wet Blanket, Borralho. And Borralho, been doing my Portuguese lessons, is I'm so fucking boring. You are going to go to sleep in any one of my fights. That's the direct translation. Shaun, what do we got here?
So deceiving because look how cool he looks in his Sherdog photo. Have you seen that? He's got the sunglasses on and everything. You'd think he was
Right?
a monster in there.
And a neck tattoo and like, geez, what
Looks
a
so
beast.
scary, but it's just a scary blanket. Yeah, I mean, if Meerkat's taken you down, which he did multiple times against Muradov, I think Borralho is going to be able to do it a couple times. The concern if you're back in Borralho is the crowd is going to be instantly booing as soon as this hits the floor. And so we might be seeing some pretty quick stand-ups. And when this is on the feet, then it gets a little scary if you're a Borralho backer. I'll pick Borralho, but yeah, that is scary with how much the booing is probably going to affect the refereeing in this fight.
Wesley.
Yeah, I guess it depends on who they got over because, if it's Goddard, he ain't going to give a shit if it's, Sheiks or
Unfortunately, we don't get that
Boston.
information ahead of time. It's not like this is a real sport or anything.
Yeah, I feel like Borralho's probably going to get some takedowns here and do a whole lot of nothing. And even on the feet, man, if you watched his fight with Petrosian earlier, who we talked about earlier, man, they just stared at each other. So, I mean, he's just a really, really boring fighter. Muradov needs to catch something on him, I think, here, or he's probably gonna get taken down and get laid on. Shaun's right. If the Meerkat's taking you down, like Borralho's takedowns are decent enough. My angle I was looking at here is I was looking at the over because I think that's probably what's going to happen. And even if it's on the feet for chunks of time, Borralho just doesn't engage, man. He, like I said, if you watch the Petrosian fight, he doesn't engage. He doesn't take chances. I think we see this going some time here. So Borralho's going to be the pick for me. I haven't bet anything on this fight yet, but if I do, it's going to be the over. And like Shaun said earlier, all my stuff is going to be tracked on BetStamp before the fight starts.
Good plug. Love it. I think the more we get in, the more the old tout fees jump up. So we love it. I took a little shot on Muradov here. Unfortunately, I missed the plus 200 out there. Got it at plus 180. I probably shouldn't even have bet it there because I'm probably going to be able to get a better price throughout the week. But the takedown defense wasn't awful against Meerkat. A lot of that was after he absolutely blew his load from trying to get the finish. And I think that Borralio's wrestling so far has consisted of like running forward and tackling guys. His wrestling hasn't actually looked good. It's been against guys that have no clue or no desire to defend takedowns. And Muradov does some of the right things when he's trying to defend takedowns. So I think that he can avoid some of them. He's the way better striker. I mean, this is a guy that people thought was good enough that 2 fights ago he was minus 700 against the Meerkat.
Fair.
So, like, he's a good enough fighter. He's got a lot of experience. He's fought a lot of decent guys on the regional scene. Better boxer here. I think they can come out with a game plan. They can stuff a takedown or two. And Borralio's probably going to be lost on the feet. So at almost plus 200, I took a shot on the much better striker. And I'm hoping that he can get it done. This will be one of those double losses. Because if he does not win, I'm going to lose my bet. And I'm probably going to have to sit through 15 minutes of the Brazilian wet blanket on another dude's back, just doing absolutely nothing. Welterweight division, speaking of wet blankets, Bilal Muhammad. Yeah, baby. It's a good card, but sometimes good cards have not the most exciting fighters in the world on them. And that kind of goes for his opponent too, Sean Brady. It's like the best fight you can make between two guys that you really don't care if you watch or not. Hey, Sean?
Yeah, it kind of eliminates one of them from title contention, so it's probably a good thing. Some smart booking by the UFC.
I'm not sure that one of these guys could win a fight in the slap fighting championship.
There we go. There we go. I just hope what I hope is we don't see a lot of the T-shirt of the pool division move over to the slap, or unless we're going for dual champ. That's a possibility.
We'll see what Chris Barnett does. We'll see what he does.
That's the man. That's the man.
He could be the one. As for this fight, like I think it's a tough fight for me to grasp. I've kind of been low on Bilal Muhammad. Lost some money against him lately. I lost a bunch of money against Luque and against Wonderboy. The dude's a blanket. He knows what he's good at, and he does it. I don't know if he's going to be able to do it in this fight. I think Sean Brady's offensive wrestling is definitely going to test his takedown defense, and he hasn't really fought many like good grapplers to know like how that defensive grappling is. He is getting coached / trained by Khabib, so I mean that probably helps. I think regardless, this fight is going to fly to it's not going to fly, it's going to snail crawl to a decision because I don't think there's going to be too much going on, but I think the over 2.5 is going to cash fairly easily. I put that in a 1-unit parlay. Whoever's winning this fight, I don't think they're getting a finish. This is going to be Grapple City, and it's a tough lead-in to a great pay-per-view. It's not the most it's not definitely not eye candy. There's been some other pay-per-views where they try to lead in with an action fight. I don't think they're doing that here.
This is the definite first fight on. Actually, it should be like a second fight on a pay-per-view. Mm-hmm. So you got your people that bots and like the people in the arena are a little bit hyped. They can get a chance to go get a beer and all that.
Cool down.
But
it's a cool down match, you know.
Yeah, I don't know about it being the first fight or the lead-in to the pay-per-view. Anyway, Wes.
Yeah, I don't know. It just this fight seems like the Spider-Man meme to me, where it's like almost the same dude. Almost. I do think Shaun is right that this fight is definitely going 15 minutes. There's between these dudes together, they couldn't finish a fucking 6 cents turkey club. Like they couldn't do it. Um, yeah, I think, however, which way you lean, decision's probably going to be the way to go. You're going to get some decent plus money on either guy. I've gone back and forth, man. It just these guys seem so similar to me. Um, I, I don't know. I'm kind of leaning Brady. I just think Brady does a tiny bit more on the feet, blows a lot of one punches at a time, a 1-2 combo, tries to back you up, tries to go for takedowns. I think Brady throws the 3-4 punch combos. He has a little bit more output. I think his takedown defense is good enough to where this is probably going to stay on the feet, or it's going to be a lot of. I think Bilal's game is going to be to get him to the cage and work him over like he does a lot of dudes. Maybe he does that a little bit in this fight. He's very good at that, man. Like if he gets Brady down, like Bilal could take still some rounds here. I mean, he absolutely could. It's a really really close fight. I can't argue with somebody taking the dog money here because it's that close. I haven't bet Brady. I do like the over, like Shaun said. I think that's a good parlay piece. That this fight's going 15 minutes. I'm going to pick Brady. I'm going to watch the line. It's actually coming down. I think Bilal money's starting to come in a little bit. There's some spots where Brady's down to minus 130 now, I believe. I do like the over. And if I play Brady, I'm probably just going to take that plus money decision. That's sitting around at plus 160 out there. So Brady by decision's the pick. Like the over.
Magic, I don't have a TMT hat, but I've got a Dude Wipes hat. Does that count? Can we get them back in the mix? No? They're famous now. They make lots of money.
They're big. Yeah, they're actually big time.
I know. I think it's because of us.
Has to
be. The hammer is poised for massive things now that they're going to get the MMA Analysis bump. Yep, that's right. I'm on the other side here. I like Bilal in this fight. I think that both guys are going to stop the wrestling. Bilal hasn't fought a lot of great grapplers lately, but throughout his career, he's shown that he's got good takedown defense. He knows what he's doing. He's physically stronger than he looks. It's not Ramadan right now, so he's just not like fasting and all that crap that he normally does during fights. And I don't know. I don't find myself like Brady's one of those guys that it's more impressive that he has a 0 next to his name in the loss column than anything that he actually shows me in a fight. So I think this is going to be a 15-minute striking match. And I don't love Brady's striking. He will throw a little bit more in combination than Bilal, but not great at range. Doesn't really look like he's trying to do much other than close the distance. I don't think he's ever outstruck anybody in the UFC, and it's not like he's fighting, world-class strikers in his fights in the UFC so far. So I think if this turns into a 15-minute kind of staring contest, that favors Bilal a little bit. He knows how to win those fights. Brady hasn't really been in one of them yet. So I've got a unit on Bilal plus 125. And what I talked about earlier, no, I didn't. That's still to come. But I've got the goes the distance parlayed with something in this fight. It's not in this next one, but there may be a bet here because is it going to happen again, Shaun?
It's that time again.
We got the Mook again.
It's that time.
She's taking on the man on fire. It's big things. I hear that Manon Fiorot is the next future champ in the women's whatever division she fights in because she's won a couple fights in a row. Talk about that.
She's not, but she is still pretty good. I'm asking to get Mooked again. I lost some money fading Mook again when she beat I think Arujau. I think I was on Rebus as well. Of course, those go to splits, but I'm trying to get Mooked again. I think Fiaro is pretty good. On the feet, she's got pretty good volume, and she actually has a pretty good takedown. Mook can be grappled. I think that would be the best path to victory. I feel like she does her best mooking when she's on the feet and hypnotizing her opponent. So I got Fiero in that parlay with Brady and Muhammad over 2.5 at plus 106. I think she's gonna win a decision fairly wide.
Wes, I do it. I know it.
Shaun, are you ever gonna learn, son?
Nope.
You're about to get moved again. I hate to
Love
say
it.
it, man. This is just another one of those matchups for her, man. To where you're right, she's gonna hypnotize her. She's gonna throw those, gonna catch her on the end of old girl throwing 3 punches, whiffing on 2, and Mook again catches her on the last one, and the judges remember that shit. Could see Mook again trying to work on the cage a little bit. Like, we've seen this over and over, man. There's just like there's no reason even like some of these women's fights. You just don't even break them down. You almost know what's gonna happen because of who's in them. This man on fire. Brad Singleton's pretty good. Like, she's got a couple of those stoppages to where Brad likes to call
The
them
standing
fraud.
TKOs.
The fraud KOs, because they're standing KOs to where she literally tees off for 20 unanswered punches, but can't knock her out. It's just a ref stoppage because she's not defending herself anymore.
Those ladies
Like,
are
no-
tough, Wes.
If you can't,
It's got
if
some 105-pound chick who doesn't want to be in there with her. Just like,
I mean,
please stop. You're not hurting me, but please stop punching me.
these are the matchups that the Mook again just thrives in, man. Somebody that can't hurt her. Like, we know what's going to happen. Give me some at dog money. She's won me so much money, even lately. I mean, the Rebus, like, just over and over. We're going to be up regardless. So, little Mook again. What is she sitting out there now? It's up to like plus 180 in some spots, plus 170s. And then Mook again decision is plus 250 over at FanDuel. Get a little extra 60, 70 cents there. So we're going to take a little Mook again decision as well. And pity Shaun that he keeps falling into the Mook trap.
Mook trap? Is that like the mouse trap?
She trapped
Pretty
you.
much.
Got you, bitch.
Yeah, exactly. Mason had Mook at plus 190 earlier this week. So I grabbed a little bit of that. Now, as he tends to do, he's smartened up, and even the Mook decision is only plus 190 over there right now. But there's still those plus 240s, plus 250s, other places. I mean, honestly, that's as good as a Mook money line in this spot. She's not going to finish somebody. She's not going to put it on anybody. She's going to hup kaya for 15 minutes. Going to get a decision against somebody who has been able to physically dominate everyone she's been in there with, and suddenly is in a fight against a somewhat capable fighter who she can't do that. So I'm on Mook. I grabbed that plus 190 at Mason. Probably throw another like half or so on the decision at plus 240, plus 250. That's, I mean, it's happened so many times. We've seen the same fight for a decade now. I don't know how. Well, I know how it could not happen again here, but I'm going to take the price that they're giving me and hope that it doesn't. Lightweight division. Now we get to the good stuff. We got Benny Dariush, little Benny from the block, taking on Mateusz Gamrot. Um, Gamrot was like really hyped coming into the UFC, and then stumbled in that debut. I don't know if it was debut or his second fight in the UFC, but I think
Debut.
things kind of died off a little bit. But this guy is still very good. I think he deserves to be in this spot. I wish they'd kind of bring more guys in at this level. But yeah, this is an interesting fight, Shaun.
Yeah, he lost in his debut to Guram Kutateladze, who turns out is very good himself.
Yep.
I like Gamrot here. I don't think Dariush is going to be able to take him down. Gamrot's takedown defense stood up very well against Saryukian, who I think is a better overall offensive grappler when it comes to takedowns anyway than Dariush. So I think Gamrot's going to dictate where this fight is. When it's on the feet, we know what that Dariush's chin is like. It's still there. It's just recently he hasn't had to risk it because he's able to take everybody down and lay on them and do work down there. He's not going to be able to do that against. He's not going to be able to do that against Gamrot. So I think Gamrot's could even offensive grapple against him and smash him on the ground, but on the feet, I trust Gamrot's hands and his flying knees and all kinds of craziness that he's throwing. So I like him to win the fight. I don't know if he finishes Dariush. He might hurt them at some point, but not be able to finish him. Dariush he's got chin issues, but he still fights for as long as he can. That's for sure. So I'm going to put Gamrot in that parlay with the Mackhachev inside the distance.
Wesley.
Yeah, Gamrot is very, very good. And if you can't, like, after watching that last performance, it's just that was impressive. Even as good as he's been, even coming from KSW and all that was very impressive. And taken from that fight, I think Saryukian is a way better offensive wrestler than Dariush is. Well, I wouldn't say way better. He's a better offensive wrestler than Dariush is. I think this ends up staying on the feet for the most part. And the last actual big puncher that Dariush fought, he got knocked out. I guess I'll put Dober in there, but he got Dober out of there with a sub in the second. But I mean, Close and Holtzman and Diego Ferreira, Tony Ferguson, he didn't have to worry about that with those guys. Gamrot can crack, man. And I think even if he doesn't get Dariush out of there, it's not likely. This probably goes to decision. I think Gamrot is. He's just got more skill on the feet. I think it's going to be. I think Shaun was also right about his offensive top game. If if somebody is going for a takedown, like Gamrot could get a takedown on Dariush and have some top time and drop some hammers. But I think it stays on the feet, and I think Gamrot gets Dariush out of there eventually. I think he lands something. I like Gamrot. I have him in one of my parlays with somebody later on who I have just a lot of money on and a number of parlays. Gamrot's going to be in one of those, and I'm taking a little shot on Gamrot TKO. It's plus 500 over at FanDuel. That's kind of crazy to me against a guy who we know is chinny, and the last big puncher I think he went up against, he got knocked out by our boy Magic's favorite fighter of all time, Alex Hernandez. So I like Gamrot here. I think he's a great parlay piece, and I will take a little shot on TKO plus 500.
And Magic saying right now, just imagine what Hernandez is going to do down at 145. The man's pants are on the ceiling fan right now. He can't handle himself. And Luke, no idea. Absolutely no clue how we ended up here. Good things happen to good people, I guess. Something like that. I like Gamrot here as well. I haven't bet him yet. I don't really know how I want to bet this. Like, I guess I could parlay it, but I don't know. There's other spots that I like more on this card that I've already put a bunch of money in over the past few weeks, maybe months since it's been announced. We'll get there, but I think the biggest thing is the volume here. That he's going to be pushing a pace. He's going to be pushing a pace on Dariush. I think he's the more likely one to get takedowns if they happen. And even if you don't think he won that fight against Sarukian, he's still a very good scrambler and probably going to end up on top in a lot of these fights. So, like Gamrot, don't really know how I'm going to bet him, and haven't bet him yet, but we'll see where all that goes. Third from the top, bantamweight division. We're all in the lighter stuff. Isn't it weird how these like good pay-per-view cards, there's nothing above lightweight? Huh. Interesting how that happens. But anyways, we got former champ Petr Yan taking on Shaun O'Mookie, another Mook in the family. Our own Shaun, you can't possibly be backing your brethren here, right? He's done for. He spells his name the wrong way.
Different spelling,
he's cut. He's out of here.
I don't get this. So BetOnline opened up the odds a long time ago. When was that? It was like July 20th. They opened Petr Yan minus 250. And every single one of us is like, what the hell is going on? And so I jumped in at that point. I got minus 280. Because, of course, I thought this number was going to go off, minus 500, and it did get steamed. As you can see, it did get steamed right away, and I don't know who is betting Sean O'Malley back into range. It is wild
Twitch
to
bros.
me.
Twitch bros.
Like, the dude has a following. Props to him.
Yep.
He's probably getting paid more to fight than he should be because of his following that he's been able to create. I just don't get this. He was recently in a competitive fight with Pedro Munoz, and now he's only minus 260, minus 300 to Petr Yan, who up until last fight where he got backpacked by Aljamain Sterling for 3 or 2 rounds, and then he won the other round. Everybody thought he was untouchable. I know Petr Yan starts slow. I don't know if that's going to matter here. I also think he's going to grapple. And if he grapples, I think Sean O'Malley is in a lot of trouble. We don't see Petr Yan grapple that much because he doesn't have to. I think he can grapple in this fight and smash O'Malley on the ground. On the feet, I know he's got some cool wheel kicks. He's got some precision. Petr Yan is a ridiculous striker. I think Petr Yan is going to put a beating on this guy. So yeah, I got the 4 units. I laid it to win 4 units at minus 280. So that is 11 some units on Petr Yan. Haven't had a bet like this in I don't know, ever. This might be once in a lifetime chance here. I think usually it's dumb to lay that price in MMA. I think this is the spot. If Sean O'Malley proves me wrong, I'll take it. I'll take the lumps because I just don't see it.
Wes?
Yeah, I know sometimes it's hard for like people that don't really bet MMA or fighting in general to look at a line like minus 250, minus 275 and think like there's just no value there. And in fighting, that's different. It just is. There's always value. out there and something. And in this fight, I think minus 250 that Peter Yan is sitting at FanDuel and Betway, and it's coming down a lot of places, is insane to me. Like, I'm not putting this on like the Floyd Connor
It's not quite
type
there.
love. It's not that. But man, it's madness to me. I do not get this. Like, do people forget what the fight O'Malley was just in? Like, Pedro Munoz is, I mean, I don't want to say he's like a shittier version of Peter Yan, but like that Peter Yan is, it's crazy to me, man. I love him in this spot. I'm hoping that as the week goes on and people start betting this more and more, like Shaun hit it, like O'Malley's got a following. He's done very well building himself up. He is online. He games. He's got a pretty decently sized Twitch channel, which I don't think people realize now. It has a lot of like, they do a lot of betting content on Twitch now. There's a lot of like promotional shit with streamers that get deals with FanDuel and DraftKings, and they all promote on there. So all of those dudes are going to be throwing their $100, their $50 on O'Malley as this week goes on. And man, like I've just been putting Yan in hockey stuff and baseball stuff and just everything I can add another leg to. If this goes down to minus 200 or something like that, I mean, I'm not at Shaun's level yet as far as the money I have on Yan, but man, this is going to be probably my biggest MMA bet of the year as far as the amount of money I have on Peter Yan here. This is just baffling to me. I think he is going to smoke Sean O'Malley. Peter Yan by KO is plus 380, plus 300 out there. Like, go to just open a FanDuel account if you don't have one. And I love Yan here. I don't understand this price, and it's going to be a big bet.
Yeah, I kind of wish that there wasn't two fights that I really wanted to lay down the old proverbial hammer on this card on. Yeah, you see what I did there, folks? This is one of them. I don't get it. I didn't bet it early because this is MMA. I didn't pull the Shaun. I figured there was always going to be spots for me in the next 4 months from when this fight was announced that I could make some money. And it turns out that this is one of those spots. Like, the line right now and a little bit earlier this week has been just as good as the opener. I actually went through the process of migrating an account over to Ontario with all the regulations that we have to go through, because they had Peter Yan at minus 240 earlier today, and I thought that was stupid. So I put a bunch of money on that. We'll see how that goes. I think it's going to be pretty good, because one of these guys has been competitive and or beating top guys in the division, and one of them has been beating guys in this division.
He was on his way to getting smoked by Munoz. Like, Munoz was lighting that kid up. Like, what are we doing? What the fuck are we doing?
So even for the people that think that O'Malley win, like, at this point, you should probably take the under instead of O'Malley, because there's a pretty good chance that Yan gets on top of him and he folds like an accordion, like he did once Vera got on top of him. Or if you think he wins, he has to land the greatest punch in the history of MMA, because he is not the better fighter here anywhere. It's insane to me. So I like Yan. I've got him straight at minus 240, which that was Sports Interaction. A lot of people can't get that. But the play that I alluded to earlier was Yan. and Bilal goes to decision. Parlayed at DraftKings is even money. And like
It's a great bet.
that's nuts to me. As Wes has done, I've also thrown Jan in with a bunch of, like, I had some bet credits at different sites and stuff like that, so I threw him in with Bronx and basically everything that I've bet on this card. A lot of it is tied to Peter Yan, and I don't feel nervous about that in the least. This is one of those levels things. So we'll see how it turns out on Saturday afternoon, I suppose, not Saturday evening, since these are going down from Abu Dhabi. But that brings us to the co-main event, bantamweight division. Should have been Jose Aldo. Wow, I almost said Jose. That's
Bad.
Yeesh. I need to go get another beer or something after that. But yeah, should have been Jose. Instead, it's TJ. And
DJ.
Good fight still. Relatively closely lined. I could see a lot of things happening. One thing I know is that if either of these dudes actually has to piss in a cup, it's going to melt through to the floor because holy shit, the magma is flowing in Abu Dhabi this week. Shaun, I will be right back. Break it down.
Sounds good. I'll keep this generally quick. I don't feel like I have a good read on this fight. It's hard to know what Dillashaw is at this point. Like, he is getting old at this weight class. He doesn't have that many fights, but he also had to take those years off. And I mean, I guess those years off were good for him, you know, getting healthy and having surgeries and stuff like that. And then with Aljo, I've been a fairly big fan of his for a long time, and the fights with Peter Yan just messed with my head because I took a shot on him when the first fight, got very lucky that Peter Yan did a very, very dumb thing. And then, of course, I bet Peter Yan in the second fight because I was like, oh, he's going to destroy him. And Aljo did what he had to do in that fight. Peter Yan started slow. Sterling threw volume in the first and then was able to backpack him for 2 more rounds. Is Aljo going to be able to backpack TJ? I guess it's possible. I mean, TJ's been taken down, but he hasn't really been held down in previous fights. So I don't really have a good angle. I think I'll go with the champion, the younger guy. I think Aljo throws volume, maybe gets some takedowns and some backpacking time, and wins a decision. What do you got, Wes?
Yeah, this fight is just really tough for me as well. All the points you brought up, I did the exact same thing with Aljo that first time. Hit a nice plus money on him. Very lucky that we got that. And then I bet Jan in the rematch. I don't see how you couldn't after watching that first fight. But I'm not sure how much Aljo really. I don't know. I don't know how much he really improved from the first fight to the second fight. I just think he had a way better game plan going to that fight, and implemented it very well. I think that sort of same game plan applies in this fight. He's going to have to weather some early stuff from TJ. I think TJ could win the first round, maybe even 2, just on output and stuff. But, Shaun's right. TJ has been taken down in the past, hasn't been held there, but there's a guy down here that can hold him down and get to his back and work and just throw up a lot of subs. TJ's probably not going to get, choked by Aljo, but he's going to have to work and fight off those chokes. I think that wears TJ down towards the later rounds. And I mean, we've seen Aljo's gas tank is incredible. The dude is just absolutely fucking shredded. He could probably piss through 6 inches of fucking titanium steel at this point. So I just think Aljo's his wrestling, his cardio. I think that's gonna be the deciding factor in a really close fight. It's why I don't really have something I really like to bet on this fight, which is kind of crazy. it being the, one of the top fights on the card. I usually have something on just about everything because I'm a complete and total degenerate. But Aljo's going down a little bit in some spots. It seems to be going back the other way now. I was hoping it would come down into a range that forced me to play Aljo Hill because I do like him as a pick. But as of right now, it's a pass at that kind of price because it's still TJ Dillashaw, man. Like, we forget how great this guy was at one time. And he did show flashes against Sandhagen in his last fight, which was I believe that was his first fight back from the long layoff. So he's got room to improve in his second fight back. Although I do think he lost that fight against Sandhagen. I thought he lost a decision there myself, but he showed flashes of good stuff in that fight. So it's close, man. It's a really close fight. Aljo's the pick, but I'll probably just end up passing on a bet here.
Yeah, I hate this kind of fight because I feel like it's lined pretty much correctly in just about every way. And most of the enjoyment that I get out of fights is by betting on them and making money now. So I think that it's more likely than not that Aljo finds his way to Dillashaw's back in a couple of rounds. Maybe a possibility of a sub in one of those, but not really a huge chance. So I get why it's favored to go to decision. If TJ's winning, if he's keeping it standing and landing more in the exchanges, Aljo's got a pretty damn good chin. The only time we've seen him knocked out was getting melted by a Marlon Moraes full-on kick knee, like shit that's going to kill anybody. So I think that he's going to be able to hold up to TJ's combinations. I just think that this is competitive. It's lined in the right direction. It's going to go to decision. I don't have a bet on it. Maybe it's one of those fights where you look at like the split or the majority props because there's going to be some close rounds. Maybe it could come down to what TJ does in the first 2 minutes before Aljo hops onto his back for the last 3 and does nothing. And we really don't know how judges are scoring those fights right now. They're all over the place. So
Yep.
no bet for me on this one. I think it's going to be entertaining, but not the greatest fight in the world. What is going to be great, though? Main event. We got Islam Mackhachev just doing his boring thing, beating up guys outside the top 15 and then claiming that nobody wants to fight him. And somehow this dude has stumbled into a title shot against the champ. I don't care. It's not vacant. The champ has a name. It's Dubron. Lance still isn't here, which is very disappointing. I assume that the team won the T-ball championship,
He's slamming tall boys.
Yep, he's hopping behind the bar and using the tap. He's taking his own shots out there, but it's a shame that he's going to miss this because Dubron is defending his belt, going into enemy territory, converting the Lions in Abu Dhabi, making them dye their hair blonde. Nobody can stop. I had to shave my head. If I didn't shave my head, I was going to dye my hair blonde because Dubronx is fighting this week. It's an incredible time. Shaun, what do you got?
So even if Dubronx wasn't, one of my favorite fighters, the line on this fight is wild to me. We see it. It's plus 160 at the best right now, really in the plus 150 range. Wild. I think that's wild. Now, Mac and Cheese, he's got skills. We're not going to say he's not a skilled fighter, but he is so untested. It's wild. Now, is that his own fault? Is that other people's fault? I don't really care. All I know is he's untested. He is going to get tested in this fight. I know what Dubronx will go through to win a fight. Getting clocked by Michael Chandler, getting clocked by Dustin Poirier. They couldn't get him out of there. This dude is steel now. I think he's just going to push a pace. He's going to come forward. If Mac and Cheese goes for a takedown, the guillotine is there. I don't think when he gets taken down, he's not just going to lay there and throw up subs. Like he does throw up subs, but usually it's to get back to the feet and just get the guy moving and scrambling and thinking. I just think Do Bronx is the best lightweight in the world, and he is an underdog right now, and that's wild to me, considering who the guys that he has dispatched and how he has done that. Mac and Cheese, if he doesn't get a takedown, what does this look like? I feel like it's bad news for Makhachev.
That Dobrok's
very
KO
bad
number starts looking really nice if he doesn't get a takedown.
He's going to get takedowns. Do Bronx doesn't have amazing takedown defense, but he's going to make them work. It's going to be scary at all times. And then when it's not on the ground, it's going to be hell. And I think that the pace of this fight is going to turn Mac and Cheese, and he's going to crumble. Do Bronx, I don't know if he's going to choke him. I don't know if he's going to knock him out, but we know he's finishing him. I got 5 units on him, plus 150. I bet it too early. I should have known. All this money's coming in on the favored side. Luckily, we're not going to have to worry about the judges in this one, because Do Bronx is not going to let that happen.
He doesn't play that. No, not at all. Wes, what do we got?
Yeah, I mean, just before anything, just the absolute and total disrespect for a dude that if he wins this fight, is probably the greatest lightweight of all time. Like,
definitely has the greatest lightweight wins of all time, at the very least.
Absolutely. Now, skill wise, there's arguments. Prime BJ, of course, we're gonna talk about dudes like that. But resume in current day MMA, where the skill level is just, of course, as high as it's ever been. Shaun hit on a lot of good points. We know what happens with Do Bronx when shit goes bad. We know he's not finding a way out. We have no clue what's going to happen with Makhachev when shit gets bad. And it's going to get bad in this fight. That dude has gotten to just lay on and beat on a bunch of dudes, non-top 15 fighters that he can control. Just no danger whatsoever in any fight. We're not going to argue against, the skills that the guy has. He does get the guys out of there. Doesn't get them all out of there, but he gets a lot of dudes out of there that he's supposed to. I don't understand the disrespect, man. I don't know how you go against Gagey, Poirier, Chandler, Ferguson, like Kevin Lee, even as bad, the dudes that are quote unquote lower level fighters that Do Bronx has beat is just all the dudes right outside that top 10, top 15, and they just can't get up there because he ends up knocking their asses out or chokes them dead more often than not. I love Do Bronx in this fight, of course. This on the feet is going to be hilarious. The leaps that Do Bronx has taken in his striking over the past 5 or 6 years might be the biggest leap in a skill set that we've seen a dude have at this level of fighting in that time. Mm-hmm. And then add on top of it, the power. That dude has legit knockout power on top of the skills. He's not like chinny, like Do Bronx has been rocked. In MMA, like, you're going to get rocked at this level. It's your recovery. Like we talk about Gagey's recovery, how he stays in fights. Do Bronx's recovery is insane. This is just, it's going to be a great fight. I think it's a Do Bronx performance. I'm looking at, of course, I'm hammering the money line. I waited. I knew that this Russian money was going to continue coming in. I keep saying the disrespect on Do Bronx is incredible, but just this particular guy was always going to keep taking money here. So I'm going to wait it out longer. I will be on Do Bronx money line big, and inside the distance, he finishes dudes. He does not go to decisions, and I'm looking at KO. I think that this. I think that Makhachev is probably good enough if he's on top on the mat that he can survive early against Do Bronx trying to throw stuff up on him. I just think this gets back up to the feet at one point and Do Bronx catches something. So I'm looking at KO. That's plus 550 or something at FanDuel as well. Like FanDuel's got some crazy prop lines. Yeah, it's Do Bronx season. Crowning the greatest of all time when he wins this fight Saturday afternoon.
I mean, I don't want to be an echo, but what are we doing here? We've got Do Bronx, who has gone through the lightweight gauntlet, and not just these last couple fights. He's gone through the featherweight gauntlet. He's gone through missing weight and switching weight classes and injuries and, you know, people thinking he's a quitter and everything you could possibly imagine. And people are still trying to bring up the quitter stuff. Like, I thought we were done with this 2 fights ago, 3 fights ago, 4 fights ago. People want to keep bringing it up. But
how could you even like make any sort of argument after watching his last 3 or 4 fights? Like that's just I don't.
Insane. He's a completely different human being than he was 10 years ago when he came into the UFC. And if he was still that guy, Mac and Cheese would beat him. If he was still willing to lay on his back and just throw up subs and try and catch something, he'd lose this fight. Because I think Makhachev is good enough that if this just turns into him being in top position, he can survive that. It won't be the most exciting thing in the world, but that would be a possibility. The thing is, Do Bronx isn't even close to that dude. This is the most dangerous lightweight on the feet now, in addition to being the guy who's probably the most dangerous guy on his back, which high-level MMA, that doesn't mean a ton. But if he gets on top of you in any sort of position, he's immediately going for dangerous subs. So,
and he doesn't lay there too much anymore now. He's reversing, he's moving.
Yep.
Like, we'll see.
Yep, exactly. And I mean, what's the path for Makhachev here? He's
just lay on him, tire him out.
Yeah, he's got to have
he's
like
to get
15,
there.
20
He's
minutes.
got to close the distance, which means he has to get through a longer, better puncher, a much longer, better kicker who's willing to use body attacks, leg attacks, stepping knees when somebody's coming into him, a guy who is notoriously probably one of the most dangerous fighters ever in scrambles, off initial takedowns. You're going to have to listen to our boy Dan Tom later in this week. He's got a little nugget that he shared with me, but I don't want to steal too much from him. But I think that a lot of Mac and Cheese's takedowns, they come from the clinch. They come from clinch trips. And if he even gets to that spot, have you seen what Do Bronx has done to the last 3-4 guys that he's fought in the clinch? He is brutalizing their body.
The clinch.
His body work is insane now. It is absolutely insane.
Dustin Poirier was ready to quit after about 3 minutes of knees to the body from Do Bronx. And that was a guy that wasn't even trying to wrestle him. That was just a guy who was sort of crashing in exchanges. So I think the Do Bronx, massive advantage on the feet. He's going to do damage in the clinch. The damage that he does in the clinch is going to force Mac and Cheese to drop his head He's going to drop his head right into some front chokes if he chooses to do that. And there's not a guy who's more dangerous with those than Do Bronx. So I get what Wes is saying. I'm probably going to end up with a little bit of that TKO as well, just because the price is so different from inside the distance. I mean, the inside is plus 175, plus
take
150.
Just take the
exactly.
money line there, yeah.
Like you play the money line.
They wised up. Wised up.
Exactly. This is not like the Mukhachev fight. These ones are priced a little bit more accurately. But you take the money line on Do Bronx. If you want, you take some TKO. I saw that there's TKO round 1 at plus 1,500. I'm going to have to throw a sprinkle on that because I think an early knee, an early uppercut, something like that could certainly get the job done before Makhachev can even get a takedown. It's going to be Do Bronx. It was always going to be Do Bronx. And the consensus bet of the week is Do Bronx. Plus, what are you going? Plus 168.
Yeah, bet online.
We're going with the bet online there, yeah?
Wait it out probably because I think it's going to probably get a little bit better.
The Munich is also
We're
Do
doubling
Bronx
up.
as well. We're doubling up this week.
Are we allowed to
It's
do
a big
that?
week.
Is
I
that
think
allowed?
we're doing that. We're doing that.
We're doing it.
Yeah, those have a winning track record, if you're not aware. And we hope to continue that this weekend. We've got a card coming up the following week. There's like 6 straight weeks of cards. We got Glover coming up at some point in there. He's going to get his belt back, and all things will be right in the world in 2022. But this, if you aren't aware, is an afternoon card. I think
you got to wake up.
Pay-per-view starts at like, 1 a.m. or 1 p.m., sorry? Something like that?
I believe so, yeah.
Sean's going to look that up. And
1 p.m. Eastern.
Boom. The one true time zone. So enjoy that. I already tried to use that to get out of some activities with the wife. I think it worked. I told her this was a fight card that I was actually thinking about buying because it was that good. So she was like, oh, he's serious about this one.
Scratch that. It's 2 p.m. Eastern.
Same shit. Shit, different pile. Should be over by 5. You can go out and you can spend all the money that you want on Do Bronx doing degenerate things. But we appreciate everyone listening. We appreciate the Hammer. Go to the hammer.bet. Check things out for hosting us now. And we will see everybody next week. I can start to hear it coming in the background. I'm gonna pick this thing up before maybe like a month or so. I'll figure it out. I won't cut us off in the intro.